What's going on, folks? CJ here. It's been a very long day, and I figured I'd do a recap of Marvel Hall H, Marvel Studios Hall H, kind of the big deal, so to speak, when it comes to kind of San Diego Comic-Con. It's kind of a tradition. Last year, Marvel was not able to make the Hall H. They didn't have any materials, so to speak, to really film much of anything. When they didn't have, I think they didn't have anything available. From my understanding, they were filming Captain Marvel. They just came off Infinity War. Endgame was kind of still in the process of getting tweaked and whatever and stuff. So they didn't really have much of anything to really do out there, and it's been kind of pointless to really push anything out there. So they skipped last year, and thus we got this year where they made huge posts. So I guess starting out, so Hawley starts off with a big kind of montage of all the Phase 1 Infinity Saga and such, and Kevin Feige comes out there and starts talking about the Infinity Saga, and he basically says, hey, we're going to do this presentation where we're going to break down the slates for Phase 4. So it's like, okay, and a big, map comes out there with all the Marvel slates out there with all the phases and stuff, and you're like, all right, cool, bet. So November 6th, 2020, we are getting Eternals. So on the comic book corner that me and Prime did, I mentioned the fact that I bought the Eternals book on Free Comic Book Day a while back, and I need to actually read over it and such. I would say more than anything else, Eternals is probably one of Marvel's... I put it in a category of kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy, in that they're a property that I would probably say more obscure than Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff, because they're kind of like the unknown wild card, so to speak, in terms of how audience is going to latch onto it and stuff. And I think probably one of the biggest things going forward is the cast they got and stuff. You got Richard Madden playing Icarus. You got Angelina Jolie playing Athena. You have Don Lee as Gilgamesh. If you don't remember Don Lee, he played the one of the characters in Last Train from Busan. I believe he was the guy whose wife was pregnant, and he protected her and stuff. So he's playing Gilgamesh, the villain. Gilgamesh, the forgotten one, but he is the villain. Salma Hayek is playing Ajak. I think Leah McHugh is playing Sprite, who is supposed to be like the oldest of the Eternals, but she's like a little girl, so that's kind of interesting. Brian Tyree Henry is playing Phastos. Kamal Nanjiani is playing Kingo, and Lauren Ridloff is playing Makari. They all came out there. Angelina Jolie, got a huge just applause and stuff. And like I said, they're projecting that for November 6, 2020. I believe the next thing that came up, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Now, the Ten Rings as an organization, we've seen them in the Iron Man movies from Iron Man 1. You heard remnants of them in Iron Man 2. In Iron Man 3, we got the fake Mandarin, and then, we got Aldrich Killian saying, oh my god, I'm the Mandarin. And then we got the Marvel short, which basically revealed that the real Mandarin is out there and stuff, and he kidnapped fucking Ben Kingsley's character, Trevor, kidnapped him and stuff. And it was always kind of left up interpretation of whether we were going to revisit that plot thread, because me and D always had this conversation about the way Iron Man 3 ended, and just the way fake Mandarin, and we never got that and stuff. So to see the title being Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and the fact that Mandarin is going to be in it. Mandarin is going to be played by Tony Leung. I'm trying to remember. Tony Leung. I'm trying to remember what. Give me a second. Consummate professional, guys. Because Tony Leung, we've seen him. We did a couple of movies for our podcast. Yeah. The Grandmaster, and he did the Infernal Affairs movie. So he's going to be playing Mandarin. Now, what's interesting about this is that in the comics, Mandarin's dad, the look of him was very Fu Manchu-ish. And if you know the Mandarin's origins was very Fu Manchu-ish in nature and the look and all that stuff. And in the comics, they kind of redid, they redid Shang-Chi's dad's origin and stuff to where it didn't have that racist aspect to him and stuff. And the same with Mandarin in the Marvel comics, they kind of gotten away from that design. So, but I also think it's dope that they're positing this 10 rings thing into Shang-Chi. And I thought that was dope. Now, I know a lot of folks are a bit miffed. Will probably feel some sort of way the fact that Mandarin isn't an Iron Man. And as much as I get that, I kind of felt as though this kind of fits Shang-Chi. Not from just on the aspect, oh, he's Asian and stuff, but to me, I feel Tony Leung just will bring a kind of bit of, weight to the Mandarin as a threat. And I think this could actually be great. I think it's going to be good. Simu Liu is going to be playing Shang-Chi. From my understanding, he's actually done a lot of stunt work, and he's also done acting. I believe, what was it? I'm trying to remember. Kim's Convenience and stuff. I'm not familiar with it and stuff, but that's kind of one of the big shows out. It was funny when he came out. There was a group of people next to me that was talking about, oh yeah, he's from Kim's Convenience and stuff. Oh, he's a great actor. So I can only go by the word of those people. But if anything, it's going to have me kind of like looking up a lot of his material to see where he's at. But he's going to be Shang-Chi. So yeah, Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings, Mandarin versus Shang-Chi. That's going to be the big hoopla with that. The next one that was coming up was Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now, we know with Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be a very buddy cop thing. I remember they rumored that Zemo was basically going to be the big bad, which confirmed turns out after Anthony Mackie and what's his face, Bucky, Sebastian Stan come out and they're doing their thing. Anthony Mackie got the shield and stuff, and they're just talking about it and stuff. The screen turns black behind them, and we get a little clip of Daniel Bruhl coming back as Zemo, complete with the Zemo mask, and I lost my fucking mind. Like, yes. So yeah, it looks like Zemo is going to be a problem. The Falcon Winter Soldier show is going to take place pretty much after Endgame. What are these two going to be up to after Endgame? So it's taking place after Endgame. I believe that's fall 2020. That's when we're getting that. And Shang-Chi we're getting November 21st, 2021. So be on the lookout for that. Spring 2020, we are getting Wanda Vision, which again takes place after Endgame, and we pretty much see Wanda, Maximoff, and Vision, and what are they up to after Endgame. They didn't really give much details and stuff. Like I said, Paul Bettany came out there with Elizabeth Olsen and such, and it looked like they're keeping them mum on what they want to sit there and do for the Vision, on how he comes back and stuff. But they announced it and such, spring 2020 for that. But the big reveal for that one is we're getting Monica Rambeau, and she is going to be played by Tiana Paris. If you don't know who Tiana Paris is, she was in Chirac, and she was in Survivor's Remorse, and great actress, and I think it fits. It's it was funny because it was like introducing somebody, and they cut to the Captain Marvel and the little girl giving Carol the the coat and stuff, and it's amazing that they're taking that and they're easing her into WandaVision and stuff, which this is something that I think is great, because I like that how they're taking stuff and then melding the movie and TV stuff, which I think a lot of folks really wanted out of the Netflix series, which again, different situation altogether, and it is what it is and stuff. So Tiana Paris, she's Monica Rambeau. Again, me being the mark that I am, I'm sitting there like, oh shit, we're gonna get, the Ultimates. It's gonna be great. So that's that. Loki, spring 2021. As you remember in Endgame, he has a Tesseract, takes it, and then, poof, disappears and such. And basically, Tom Hiddleston comes out there. They were pretty much mum on the details of that. Basically, it's going to be Loki just traveling with the Tesseract to different things and stuff and causing mischief as he always is. Nothing, again, no details and stuff, but just kind of implied what Tom Hiddleston was saying. So that's spring 2021. May 7th, 2021. We are getting Doctor Strange 2, aka Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Now, if you're very much familiar with Doctor Strange in the comics, he is a guy, he's the master of mystic arts, and he protects all the realms and such, and the multiverses, those things and such. And in the comics, he's always traveled the multiverse to protect, basically keep the peace and be the protector of everything. And they, came out with Benjamin Cumberbatch and such. And Scott Derrickson is coming back as a director, great. And Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch is going to be in Doctor Strange 2, and I think that's great. It's actually pretty good progression and stuff because it's Scarlet Witch. She's hex magic. You already knew this is going to be the thing that's going to happen and stuff. So that's going to happen May 7th, 2021. So next up, we got the Marvel What If thing, which is essentially comes out summer 2021. Basically, it's what if. If you're not familiar with the Marvel comics and stuff, the What If comics was essentially what if based off of storylines from Marvel comics. Like, say for instance, there was a book, What If Civil War, where essentially what if Cap and Iron Man came to some sort of agreement, and then Civil War. Basically, it was what if Civil War, and essentially what if Cap and Iron Man and Tony came to an agreement and stuff. What would that look like? What if Civil War happened, in the middle of Civil War, Annihilation happened, and basically with Annihilation happening, it kind of put both groups together and stuff. It's basically what if variations of different stories and stuff, and it looks like they're clearly doing it. From what it looked like, it's going to be animated and such. And they got Jeffrey Wright. He is going to be the Watcher. Now, if you remember the Watcher, we saw him in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Stan Lee was talking to him stuff, but it's dope that they're actually making him Uatu the Watcher. So dope. That's going to be great. Fall 2021, we are getting the Hawkeye series. It's going to be following Clint Barton. We're going to see a little bit of his backstory with him as Ronin, what he was doing as Ronin and such, kind of leading to us seeing him and Kate Bishop. It was great. They showed a bit of a kind of a teaser thing, leading into the logo for the show, and they showed Kate Bishop and stuff. And it looked like it was based off of the Matt Fraction style of Hawkeye and stuff. So that looks like that's going to be a pretty great series and such. And I'm looking forward to seeing Jeremy Renner. Like I said, them mentioning that nugget of, we're going to see him when he was Ronin. Great. I think that's going to be awesome. The next up was November 5th, 2021. We are getting Thor, Love and Thunder. Taika Waititi is coming back. I believe a couple of days before the convention started, they had announced that Taika Waititi was coming back for Thor 4 due to some issues with him not being able to direct Akira and stuff. So, he comes out there, Taco comes out there, Chris Hemsworth comes out there, Tessa Thompson comes out there. And, the usual, camaraderie and stuff like that, and, Thor and, the state of Asgard and where it's going and stuff, especially after Endgame. And then we get the big reveal that Natalie Portman is coming back. Now, before that, they asked Taco, what is he basing his Thor off of? And he basically was like, I'm taking from Thor God of Thunder, the Jason Aaron run. Now, if you're not familiar with the Jason Aaron run, basically it was Thor when he didn't have the hammer. He wasn't worthy per original sin, and we get a little bit of backstory. Basically, go read Jason Aaron's run of Thor. Period. Just go fucking read that shit. It is phenomenal. But for the most part, Jason Aaron's run on Thor gave us Jane Foster as Thor, which is interesting. Now, in the comics, it was because Thor wasn't worthy, and we know the backstory on that, and Jane Foster ends up becoming Thor and all that stuff. Now, clearly, since this is the movies and stuff, there's going to probably be a variation of it and stuff. Because if you remember from Endgame, Thor, had it, when he went back in his past, he put his hand out, and the hammer came to him, which, he finds out he's still worthy. So, clearly, I don't think this is a situation of he isn't worthy. But this might be something kind of different. But yeah, we're going to get Natalie Portman coming back as Jane Foster Thor. And what I find interesting, I remember seeing stories about how, Natalie Portman is just so hard to work with and she don't want no part of the MCU and da-da-da-da-da-da. And for her to come back as Jane Foster Thor, it makes me wonder to me, it just feels as though maybe all those stories were just bullshit and she really did enjoy doing those movies and stuff, and maybe they had this in the back pocket, But she's back as Thor, looks great. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of people saying, social justice warriors and they pushing this. Fuck off. Like, this is going to be great. I think it's going to be good. Like I said, I hope, more than anything else, I know a lot of people, their stigma with Ragnarok is that despite it being good, they didn't like it was too comedic and stuff. So, look, I think Thor Ragnarok was a great film. Even with the comedy stuff, there was a bit of levity. There was a bit of seriousness to it. And I think a lot of folks just saw the jokes and they ignored all the serious moments. So, I pushed back on the idea that Thor Ragnarok was just 100% laughs. That's stupid. There was levity to it, there was drama to it, and it was great. Excuse me. So that comes out, like I said, November 5th, 2021. So lastly, May 1st, 2020, Black Widow is dropping. And they brought the cast out and, going through the whole shebang and stuff. And they gave us a trailer. Now, the trailer, we get Natasha basically after Civil War. It looks like the movie shows what was she up to after Civil War when she's on the run and such. And we cut back to Budapest. Now, she gets back to Budapest and basically she ends up fighting Yelena, the other Black Widow from the comics and stuff. They both fight it out in the kitchen. And what I thought was stand out about the scene with them fighting is that it wasn't the typical shaky cam fight. Like, you can see what's happening. You can see these two fighting it out. The choreography was great, and it was dope. And it set the tone, so to speak, for what we were getting out of this trailer. And from what we see from the trailer, it's going to be pretty much involving Widow in the Red Room. And basically Taskmaster fits into this. And when you see Taskmaster, folks, he looks fucking phenomenal. We get, basically, it's take, the look of him is basically take, it's essentially his look from the PS4 Spider-Man game. He doesn't have the long flowing cape. It's just kind of like the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon. If you watched it, it's a little bit of that with a little bit of the PS4 Spider-Man, the look of it and such. But Widow shoots at some person, walk in, the shield pops up, it's Taskmaster's shield, and we see the fucking skull face in the hoodie, and it looked fucking phenomenal. And we end up cutting to, after, the Widow's scream, we see Widow fighting Taskmaster, and he's like mimicking her moves, and he does the flip when she does the flip, and they stare off at each other, and it just cuts. And I was like, holy shit, this is fucking dope. We are getting a fully realized Taskmaster in the MCU, and it's going to be great. They didn't announce who is Taskmaster in the film, so that's going to be the mystery in and of itself. But yeah, it's going to be dope. It's going to be phenomenal. I think if anything, the trailer kind of took any doubt that I had about the Black Widow movie. It took it away. And I know most people would be like, well, why did you have doubt? It's Black Widow is Marvel. Yeah, but it was kind of like interesting to see what they were going to do with this film. And like I said, this is looking to be a pretty dope experience. Now, finally, the caveat, the big deal of everything. Feige says, basically points out that, hey, Black Panther 2 is happening. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is happening and stuff. You might hear Fantastic Four is happening. And you might hear rumors about the X-Men. That's in the pipeline as well, which is coming from the horse's mouth. we're getting Fantastic Four and X-Men as expected. It's in the pipeline, so these are things that Phase 4 is going to be revolving around, and it's going to be kind of interesting to see how all of this ties into one another and stuff. Like I said, we're finally seeing the synergy with TV and stuff with Disney Plus, and it's going to be great. But after that little announcement, Feige brings out Mahershala Ali, who played Cottonmouth in Luke Cage, and he's like, "Hey, what do you have in your hand?" And he takes it out, puts it on, fucking Blade. Now, the logical thing is, and I think a lot of us kind of were like rolling the dice wishing that this is happening and stuff, but basically for the longest time, there was this idea of fan casting of what if Mahershala Ali was Blade? And boom, he apparently is Blade. It could be a sham because he couldn't be Blade, we'll see. But apparently he is Blade, apparently. And this is Blade. This is a character in the movies that started this whole what we got today. And apparently he's getting a movie. It looks to be a reboot of sorts. This is going to be interesting. But yeah, they announced that, and that was a hell of a way to just gut punch you, and just, you were already hyped for everything else up to this point, but then you get Blade. So, and I'm not trying to turn this into a Marvel DC pissing contest, but any person this lineup that they have for Phase 4, it's just running circles around whatever WB DC is doing, and I really feel that Marvel has not stopped keeping their foot on our necks. So, but yeah, that's my reaction to it. I loved every aspect of this. Like I said, I marked out at the Taskmaster stuff. The Blade announcement was just fucking great. I'm interested in Hawkeye. Definitely love every aspect of it. All these stuff in Phase 4 is just great. So yeah, man, that is my recap of the Marvel Studios Hall H. Be on the lookout. We got more stuff from San Diego coming out. I'm actually gonna put out a toy unboxing for the Lightning stuff for Morphin Medicast, so be on the lookout for that. And yeah, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Got more content coming out, and listen to our podcast, Three Black Geeks. Follow us on IG, follow us on Twitter, and yeah, peace.